All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Andy, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. Today, we have some more good news about the state's booming economy, and we have set, yes, another record. Today, we can announce we set a new historic low monthly unemployment rate of 3.7%. This is the first time a rate this low has ever been recorded in the Commonwealth. The seasonally adjusted preliminary April 2023 unemployment rate was down 0.1 percentage points from March of 2023 and down 0.1 percentage points from the same month the year before. We have never seen 3.7%. This is the lowest monthly unemployment rate in Kentucky's history. Today's news follows last month's announcement that Kentucky had set the lowest annual unemployment rate for 2022. That's the lowest unemployment rate for any year in the state's history. In April, we also announced that Kentucky had seen job growth over pre-pandemic levels, with now nearly 46,000 more jobs in the Commonwealth than before the pandemic. Just last week, we announced that we secured the first ever state-level credit rating upgrade from the major credit rating agency Fitch Ratings, which moved Kentucky's rating up from AA- to AA. This is the first state-level credit rating increase that Kentucky has seen in the last 13 years. What it means is not only do we have a booming economy, not only is our fiscal house in order, but what it also means is that the pensions of every teacher, firefighter, police officer, social worker, you name it, are safer than they have been in decades. Those are pensions that were earned. That is a promise that we are keeping. You know, it's a promise that I fought in court for when the last administration tried to illegally cut them. And not only did we win and save those pensions then, but they are now better funded, better protected than ever. You don't have to take my word for it. The credit rating agency has said it for us. Our businesses and communities are thriving, and our Kentucky families are working hard to provide for their families. And this is just another indication, again, setting the lowest monthly unemployment rate ever of the record-setting economy that Kentucky is currently experiencing. Today, I also want to highlight several great economic development announcements we've made over the past couple weeks. We continue to build on our record-breaking economic growth statewide. This year alone, we've already announced 30 projects committing nearly $1.8 billion in new investment and creating over 3,000 new, well-paying Kentucky jobs. With that, we're now up to 852 private sector announcements during my administration, totaling over $28.89 billion and nearly 46,000 full-time jobs, new jobs for Kentuckians. So to kick off our economic development news today, I want to highlight an exciting expansion by a Silicon Valley-based company in Kenton County. Java GNSS is a manufacturer of satellite navigation receivers. This is the very complex technology that lets machines, products, and even people to locate themselves precisely and reliably. They are creating a new office in Fort Wright, Kentucky, that'll create up to 20 new engineering positions. There, the company will focus on research and development as well as engineering design. Workers will help push advances in this important and growing technology space, which is involved in the aerospace, marine, and military industries, among others. Expanding the R&D and engineering presence throughout the state is going to better position Kentucky for future success. Our Commonwealth offers the best location, resources, workforce, and companies of all kinds are increasingly choosing us for their biggest investments ever. I want to thank the leadership at the company for their commitment to Kentucky, and I'm excited to see their future full of success at Fort Wright. Next, I want to highlight a company that has a long history in Kentucky. Dotmar Paper Company has operated in Hallsville at their mill there in Hancock County for the last 50 years. Just yesterday, the company announced a $51 million modernization that will be retaining the over 400 jobs at that facility. They're the second largest employer in that county. Founded in 1848 and celebrating 175 years of business this year, Dotmar is a leading provider of a wide variety of fiber-based products, including market pulp, as well as specialty and packaging papers. This company's Hallsville mill is an integrated pulp and paper mill that produces nearly 600,000 tons of fine specialty paper annually. This project will upgrade the mill's machinery to boost its capabilities and better serve growing markets. Leaders at the company plan to have the expansion fully operational by the end of 2025. I want to congratulate company leaders on their continued success, and I want to thank them for continuing to partner with Team Kentucky to retain these really important jobs in Hancock County and for continuing to believe in us. We've also seen continued investment in workforce training initiatives. Today, we can tell you nearly $4.3 million in funding and credits are being approved during May's Bluegrass State Skills Corps meeting to assist with training of over 19,000 Kentucky workers. BSSC incentives are available to a wide range of different operations, including manufacturing, agribusiness, non-retail service or technology, headquarters operations, state licensed hospital operations, coal severing and processing, alternative fuel, gasification, renewable energy production, and carbon dioxide transmission pipelines. Training funds and credits approved during this month's meeting now push the state's support in the fiscal year 2023 to nearly $9 million for 102 applicants throughout the state to train more than 33,800 workers. This is how we continue to have the best trained workforce in America. This is how we ensure when we bring in a company, they see the type of trained workers that they need. Approvals during this month's BSSC meeting support workforce training in communities across the state, including more than 10,643 trainees between Ford Motor Company's 2 facilities in Louisville, with 3,051 trainees from the assembly plant on Fern Valley Road and 7,592 trainees at the Kentucky Truck Plant on Chamberlain Lane. Other approvals include 2,875 trainees at Metalsa Structural Products in Elizabethtown. That's an amazing story there about how much that group has grown over the years. Nearly 540 trainees at the Shelby County Associated Industries in Shelbyville. Over 300 trainees at Highlands Diversified Services in London. Almost 300 trainees at RFC LLC in Shelbyville. Bluegrass State Skills Corp has done great work and continues to position us to be the premier destination for these companies that we are seeing pick us time and time again. Adding to all this amazing economic development news, Beshear Aviation has announced that they are building a new general air cargo facility at the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport, which we lovingly call CVG. Beshear Aviation develops, operates, and invests in next-generation supply chain infrastructure that supports the non-passenger aviation industry. This new 80,000 square foot cargo facility will include both associated offices and truck docks and will have airside access on approximately 4.5 acres on the northern part of the airport campus. Kentucky is a leader in the air cargo industry. And I'm proud to say that CVG is now the 7th largest cargo airport in North America. That's something we can all, as Kentuckians, be proud of because even though the airport might start with a C, it is on our side of the river, and we claim it here in Kentucky. Our location and speed to market make Kentucky the best place to do business, and we look forward to continuing to work with this company and that incredible airport to make this new air cargo facility a success. All right. Now we have an exciting announcement with our friends joining us from Boyle County. Since I took office in 2019, we have taken important steps in the fight against the ongoing drug crisis here in Kentucky. The administration has taken serious and significant steps, and I'm glad that we are seeing progress. As we announced last week, law enforcement in Kentucky have seized a record amount of fentanyl during the last 7 months that makes this state safer for our families. Just last week, I announced the Kentucky Counter-Drug Program has seized 142 pounds of fentanyl over the last 7 months, which would have been enough to kill 28.9 million people. This is National Police Week. I want to thank our law enforcement. I want to thank everybody on the Kentucky Counter-Drug Program, and we ought to be celebrating the work they've done. And when you take that great work of seizing drugs when it gets to Kentucky. And you put it next to the great work from our Kentucky National Guard, because we've had hundreds of guard at the border nearly every year that I've been governor. We answered the call under the last president and this president, because border security is national security. And when you were asked by a president, you say yes. You combine that with the announcement from several months ago that we have increased our treatment beds for those who want to get better, to reunite families, to get people back into society by 50% since I became governor. And you see why. And last year, we saw the first decrease in overdose deaths since 2018. Yes, they are still too high. Those are people's friends, sons, daughters, parents, people we love and care about. And every one of those losses is a tragedy. But the fact that we are seeing glimmers of hope, we are seeing things move in the right direction, is a testament to the thousands of people working in law enforcement, in treatment, and in recovery of our great National Guard. And I want to make sure that we not only thank them for their work, but we recognize the real progress that they are making. As you know, I've also signed a number of great bills, from governance of recovery housing to this recovery ready community legislation. Today, we get to take another step forward in getting our people better in fighting this drug epidemic by recognizing and announcing that our friends in Boyle County are the first county in the Commonwealth to be certified as a recovery-ready community. Boyle County has successfully established a community-based infrastructure to combat addiction and support long-term recovery. Thanks to strong collaboration between the county and city governments, steps have been taken that have increased successful treatment outcomes, come on up, boosted workforce participation, maybe even saved taxpayer money along the way. Boyle County has set a strong precedent that can serve as a model to the rest of our Kentucky communities, showing that we can do anything when we work together, when we care about every single Kentucky family, when we push politics or differences aside and we just focus on the lives of our people. Boyle County has shown us how to get it done. Boyle County is our first certification, but will not be our last. I continue to encourage each of the Commonwealth counties and communities to apply for certification. And you know what? We're going to be strong enough and tough enough to fight this addiction crisis, to fight this drug crisis, as long as it takes. Much of this has arisen in our lifetime, and I believe it is our obligation to end it in our lifetime as well. And when we work together, you can see we make progress. We have several individuals from Boyle County here with us today to receive their official and the first certification. We have Boyle County Judge Executive Trilly Bottom, EMS social worker and Boyle County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy member Terry Dunn, and Boyle County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy Coordinator Kathy Mills. We also have Pam Darnell, chair of the Recovery Ready Communities Advisory Council. She does that when she's not doing other incredible work, which she does for our Commonwealth, and she has been instrumental in making this happen. So if you all would join me right here, I am proud. Come on, let's get everybody in. You got to step right up, Judge, though. I'm proud that today we are officially certifying Boyle County as our first recovery-ready community. Congratulations.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate it.
You deserve to brag.
All right. I would just like to thank you, Governor Beshear, for recognizing our certification as being the first county in the Commonwealth to receive this recovery-ready status. It is a very exciting time in our county, and we just appreciate all the people that have been involved in helping us get there, filling out the applications, doing the interviews. It's just been an exciting way to get there, and we are just so excited. And I want to let Kathy Miles speak,
Yes.
if that's all right. She is our substance abuse policy coordinator, and I would like for her to come and say a few words at this time, because she has been very instrumental, her and Terry both, in getting this done. Thank you.
Well, we brought our first responder because y'all know how important first responders are. So, Terry, just come up here and let me give you the pat on the back that you deserve. He is with our EMS, and he's a social worker and does follow-ups to EMS visits and calls and transports. And I don't know if you want to say a word, but we are so thankful to have him. This is not a position we've had for a long time. I recommend every county do this. and we're making some progress because
We
of
are.
your compassion and your professionalism. So
Thank you.
thank you. And let me just say some other thank yous. So first of all, thank you, Governor Beshear, for your ongoing commitment to this work. It means a lot to people in the trenches out in our counties. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We want to say thank you to the Advisory Council for Recovery Ready Communities, a group that is meaning a lot and will continue to mean a lot to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And we particularly want to also say thank you to the Office of Drug Control Policy and Ben Ingram and his staff. Not only do they mean a lot in this certification, but they've meant a lot to us over the years as a county agency for substance abuse policy. So we appreciate that very much. We're accepting this and pleased to accept this for all the citizens of Boyle County. We are a community that I think has learned to work together, to build resources, to build relationships, to build connections. And so we continue to work on everything from prevention and education to harm reduction to enforcement and treatment and recovery resources. Everybody gets in the same room together and works on this with a common goal. We're also here to accept it in the memory of those that we've lost to overdose deaths. In support of their families who continue to grieve. And we accept this pledging to the children and youth of Boyle County a safer and healthier future. We so recognize every day that this work is not done. But it's really nice to just stop today on this beautiful day in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and think about what has been done and to be able to honor all the people in our county who've made progress. So thank you to all of you all. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, I'm Pam Darnell. I'm the Advisory Council Chair of our Recovery Ready Community Advisory Council. And I just want to thank Governor Beshear for asking me to chair the council. I have the easiest job in the world. These people do the real work. And so I just want to thank you all for being here because this is an incredibly important step for recovery ready communities across Kentucky. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Boyle County, for your huge amount of work and your success. And thank you, Governor Beshear, for your commitment to this incredibly important work that will impact every citizen in Kentucky. Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate
Thank
you. All right, very exciting. The first, but will not be the last. Today, I'm also very happy to announce more than $4.8 million in transportation funding are going to go to sidewalks and bike trails in 5 of our Kentucky communities. These are the kind of projects that help get people outside, help them to build amazing memories and experiences with their families. They are also what make our communities so attractive to these relocating companies. Remember, they want to see a great workforce. They also want to see a place they want to live. These projects make it easier and more enjoyable to walk or ride a bike for exercise or relaxation, or if you're me, for stress relief. In other words, projects that make a difference in our quality of life. But walking and biking aren't viable options if the facilities aren't in good condition or if they don't exist at all. So the funding provides a way for local governments to build the facilities and get reimbursed for most of the cost. During my administration, we've approved nearly $19 million worth of these projects for communities all over Kentucky. So today I'm joined by Bobby Joe Lewis of our Transportation Cabinet. If you'll join me up here, we're going to present a few of these awards. First, we have a check for more than $1.3 million for the City of London. This funding is for London's project to repair and replace sidewalks on 9 blocks of Main Street. This will be especially important for Kentuckians in motorized wheelchairs who need level, safe sidewalks. This project will also impact folks at the nearby London Elementary School, at City Hall, the Laurel County Courthouse, a community center, 3 churches, numerous businesses, and a city park. So would Mayor Randall Weddle please join me to accept the check and say a few words? Come on, Bobby Joe. All right. Want to say a few words, Mayor?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We just want to thank Governor Beshear and his administration, Commissioner Lewis for this. This is going to provide safe pathways to and from grocery stores to schools. If it wasn't for this administration awarding this, as a city, we didn't know how we was going to update this infrastructure. So this will provide a great deal of safe pathways for our seniors and for our youth. This is tremendous to our community, and we're grateful to your administration and Commissioner Lewis for giving us this grant, Governor.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. Oh, we got to take a different picture because I gave him the wrong check. Let's do that again. Here we go. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, take the bigger one.
Take this.
Next, we have a check for that I just tried to hand out to the wrong person for more than $376,000 for the city of Greensburg. The project involves construction of a new sidewalk with curbs and a gutter on Carlisle Avenue. But it's more than just a sidewalk. It's really a part of an education project because this will serve the students and staff at the Greene County Area Technology Center. So Mayor, if you please accept this check and then offer a few words. All right. You're very welcome.
First of all, thank you, Governor Beshear. I want to thank Commissioner Lewis and Federal Program Specialist, Ms. Holly Crossway. The the Transportation Alternative Program really extends to small communities and large communities alike. The ability to connect our community with our people. So the growth of Greensburg, the growth of our school district, this funding is really going to kind of fill the gap for us to be able to do some things that we might not otherwise have been able to
Yes.
do. So we appreciate your commitment to economic development and thank you, Commissioner Lewis.
A lot more to come.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's excited to see growth, isn't it? I'm also happy to announce more than $2.3 million to Scott County towards the construction of the Scott County Legacy Trail for bicycles and pedestrians. It will link the Fayette County Legacy Trail and stretch the trail to residential areas along Schoolhouse Road. I'm also announcing $576,000 to the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government for the construction of Brighton Trail, a 3-mile-long bikeway connecting downtown with the biking and walking trail between Liberty Park and Deer Haven Park. Finally, we're announcing $170,000 for Boyle County for the installation of drains on the famed Merchants Row, a Civil War area business district in historic Perryville. It is an area prone to have water pool in front of buildings when it rains, and pedestrians sometimes have to walk through the standing water. With this award, we're fixing this. Judge, did you know about this? No, sir. Okay. So our judge in Boyle County just found out about it. We probably should have had a check to present to her. But thanks again. Oh, we've got it for you on the way out. Thanks again to our local leaders for working on this project. Your partnership is incredible. All right. A reminder that it is still Mental Health Awareness Month in the Commonwealth. And we have some news that is the next step in our goal to make Kentucky a national leader in mental health resources and programs. Today, we're announcing almost $3 million in grant funding to implement a community crisis co-response program. The model, which will be implemented prior to June 30th, 2024 in up to 20 Kentucky municipalities, will establish the first responder de-escalation protocols in situations where someone is experiencing a mental health crisis. The model establishes partnerships between law enforcement and our first responders and behavioral health experts. It's designed to lower the distress of individuals in crisis and to avoid unnecessary hospitalizations or incarcerations. In addition, the grant funding will support first responders' access to new tools, as well as the capacity to care for individuals in crisis. We want to make sure we're doing everything we can to help these people. If we're equipped with the proper tools to handle these events, we will see better outcomes. A notice of funding opportunity should be coming early in July. So if you represent a municipality, we encourage you to apply, and we expect a new round of funding will follow in the next state fiscal year. Next up, the Governor's Safety and Health Award recap. During my administration, we have announced the creation of about 46,000 full-time jobs. That means 46,000 Kentuckians have the dignity of work, security for their family, and opportunity for their kids. As we continue to build on this success, we want to recognize those that not only provide a good job, but excel at safety in those jobs. Now, we want all of our Kentuckians to be able to go home to their families at the end of the day, and we don't want our Kentucky families worrying about the safety of their loved ones during that workday. Protecting our people is living our faith and values. No matter where you are in the Commonwealth, every Kentuckian has the right to be safe while earning a living. Everyone should feel confident their employer is always watching out for them and developing the new steps. Earlier today, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman presented the 2023 Governor's Safety Health Awards to Kentucky companies whose employees, this is incredible, have collectively logged more than 50.2 million consecutive hours on the job without a workplace injury or illness, all of that in 2022. I want to congratulate these companies because that's an amazing accomplishment and it's protected so many people. We have a slide up here with all of the companies that were recognized today. I will tell you, looking at this, many of these received the award last year or before, showing a continued commitment to public safety. My administration is committed to assuring every workplace protection is in place, again, so our Kentuckians make it home. During the fiscal year 2022, the Division of Occupational Safety and Health Compliances conducted 997 inspections to ensure safety in our workplaces. Just 2 years ago, we reported that Kentucky's occupational injury and illness rate had fallen to the lowest point on record since the Bureau of Labor Statistics began tracking that rate in 1996, and I'm happy to tell you that every year since then, we have stayed at that low rate. So more jobs than we've ever seen, and the best workplace safety that the organizations tasked with following it have ever seen. I'm also happy to announce that between fiscal years 2021 and 2022, the workplace fatality rate declined nearly 30%. That means more people were able to spend that next holiday with someone they love. These statistics are worth celebrating, but we know there's still more work to be done. So I want to thank the 2023 Governor's Safety and Health Awards recipients for their continued safety and awareness efforts. It makes a difference. Kentucky's economy is booming. We want good paying jobs. We want jobs of the future. We also want employers committed to safety, and that's exactly what we're seeing. All right, good news on an Americorps federal grant. Today, I'm announcing that more than $25.3 million is on the way from Americorps. The funding will be utilized to help with housing, clothing, and food for Kentucky's children and families in need. It will also be used for tutoring, teaching, and other educational services for students in all grade levels through post-secondary education. The funding will help health departments, senior centers, and hospice centers better serve Kentuckians. The funding is made up from $14.7 million in Americorps grants, $5.8 million in private and public matching funds, and nearly $4.8 million in education awards. So after completing a full term of service, Americorps members will be eligible for $6,895 for college or post-secondary education or to repay student loans. An example of a program that is receiving funding is Unite Service Corps, where Americorps will tutor 2,170 students in math and implement a drug prevention curriculum in 21 Kentucky counties. As a dad, we want to make sure all our children are safe. We want to make sure that all of our children are excelling, and Americorps is there to help. I want to thank Americorps for their partnership. This announcement is another further step towards building a Commonwealth where every Kentucky child has true opportunity, and we make sure we are providing the resources and the direction to ensure they all also have prosperity. Update on primarily Eastern Kentucky, but a little bit on sheltering in Western Kentucky. So to date, the Commonwealth Sheltering Program has 111 households from Eastern Kentucky that remain in 114 travel trailers. So that's 3 fewer families, 3 fewer travel trailers. Again, we've more than crested with individuals finding more permanent sheltering. That's exactly what this program is for, and it has worked. 271 households in total have transitioned out. 4 people still in 1 hotel, 14 people in state parks. FEMA assistance now up to $106.4 million in individual assistance grants. That's an increase from $172,000 from the last update. Keep pursuing your claim. Since that last update, 3 new applicants have received the maximum grant. If you need help, call FEMA directly or visit the Multi-Agency Resource Center. Today, we also have some good news from the Western Kentucky Safe Fund in that $3 million of grants are going out. First, Dawson Springs Independent School will receive over $80,500 to recover lost revenue as a result of the tornado event. Graves County is approved for $2.5 million to repair damaged roadways. And Lyon County has been awarded over $340,000 to repair damaged roads as well. In the Eastern Kentucky Safe Fund, we have 5 new awards totaling $2.9 million. To assist with the strain of fiscal demands, Clay County has been approved for $500,000, City of Buckhorn for $370,000, and Knott County for $2 million. The City of Hindman is set to receive $41,000 for a FEMA match and $80,000 to engage a professional planner who will assist in the long-term recovery efforts. As of this week, the buyout program still moving faster than ever in history. It's reached over $30.6 million. These awards include 178 properties from Perry County, City of Jackson, Breathitt County, Letcher County, Knott County, and Floyd County. All right, news on SBA help for the February 15th to 20th storms. Remember, we have so many weather events. You've got to track what grants are there for which storm rebuilding. So the U.S. Small Business Association has announced that certain nonprofit organizations in the 22 declared counties from the February 15th through 20th severe storms, straight line winds, flooding, landslides, and mudslides will be eligible to borrow up to $2 million to repair or replace damaged real estate, machinery, equipment, inventory, or other business assets. SBA has additional loans to assist with mitigation needs and ongoing operation expenses. I'm going to spare everyone a reading of all 22 declared counties. Our counties know when they were declared, but if you are a nonprofit that sustained damage in the February 15th to 20th severe storms, make sure you check the status of your county. We want you to get that help. And finally, our team, Kentucky All-Stars, is our law enforcement officers all over the Commonwealth. This is National Police Week. It is a week where we honor the nearly 8,000 law enforcement officers across Kentucky for the incredible work that they do. It's also a week where we recommit ourselves to the promise that if we lose any of these officers, that we are there for their family, not just in the days after, but the weeks, the months, and the years. When people put their life on the line to protect us, they have to know that we will not forget them and we will not forget their families. And we lost 7 Kentucky law enforcement officers last year, 7. I presented a Kentucky flag, I think, to each of their families, and I think we'll see them next week at the memorial at DOCJT when we add their names to the fallen. This is a week where I would really encourage everybody out there to thank your local law enforcement. Remember what they do for you. It was always personal to me. I ran a law enforcement division in the AG's office, but when I lost a friend at the Old National Bank shooting, I almost lost 2 more. And because of 2 incredibly brave LMPD officers arriving within 3 minutes and rushing towards gunfire, one of them has not fully recovered and is still in a tough place, but responding better and better each day because of their sacrifice. You know, those individuals, at least 2 of my friends, are still alive today. So during this week, please thank our team, Kentucky All-Stars, for everything they do. Okay, we're going to open it up to questions. So I think we have 4 journalists here, though I have 3 on my sheet, so we'll make sure that we get everybody. We'll start with Lee from WLEX.
Good afternoon, Governor. How are you?
I'm good.
So we've been looking into a situation involving an expenditure of state grant money approved by your office. And just speaking broadly here, what kind of oversight does your office do when that grant money is used by Kentucky State Police? What what checks and balances are in place?
So we review memorandums that are, well, first, let me say, I do not personally review travel requests from our different agencies. It does run through my office, so especially we can find those that we don't believe are appropriate. You know, sometimes you see requests that people want to go somewhere for networking, and we don't spend our dollars that way. So typically, a memorandum will come through explaining what they want to do, how, and generally what it will cost. Certainly, I think the one that you were looking at, the memorandum, is there. It talks about a training from the El Paso Intelligence Center put on by the DEA. Its goal was to provide training to help us better not only prevent crime, but actually catch criminals. And by attending it, we now have access to a new database and tool that the Kentucky State Police is able to use. It goes along with our use of facial recognition and license plate readers. We're one of the only groups in the state that has 3 different platforms to do that, and this now gives us a broader database to run it by. Tom.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon to you. I have heard that there is now a date set for the dedication of the COVID memorial here on the Capitol grounds.
Yes.
You can tell me about that.
I think it is Crystal. Can you, I want to make sure I get this right. Yes, next week we are doing an official dedication of the COVID memorial. They have done an incredible job with it. It is this coming Wednesday at 2 p.m. And we invite the public. This is a memorial where people can come to remember those loved ones they lost, but it also recognizes the amazing sacrifice and heroism of our first responders, our healthcare heroes, and others. So we'd love to see everybody there. McKenna.
Thank you, Governor. In 2017, as Attorney General, you signed an amicus brief led by West Virginia that supported petitioners in holding the Hogan, which is a challenge to Maryland's ban on semi-automatic rifles and large capacity magazines. With the conversation on gun control renewed the state after last year in Louisville, do you stand by that signature going forward? Are you considering executive orders or other measures on gun control?
Well, I'd have to look back at that amicus, but I think I've been very clear on my support for a red flag law here in Kentucky. See, I believe that red flags laws respect everyone's Second Amendment rights because that is in the Constitution and it is everyone's right. But at the same time, gives the tools for police to step in before a mass murder because that's what these shootings are. They are murders. It requires that police would go to our court system, a system we trust for custody of children, and present evidence that, again, murders are about to happen. And at that point, a court can step in and do something about it. Red flag laws have been passed in all different types of states, including ones that would be described as red or blue or otherwise. And I think it is a reasonable step here. But if the General Assembly isn't willing to talk about that yet, can't we all agree that the family of someone murdered shouldn't have to watch the weapon that was used auctioned off to the highest bidder? I mean, that disrespects those that have gone through so much trauma. And our budget is such to where we can provide any and all funds that may create. You know, some of those funds go to body armor for our law enforcement officers, and that is absolutely critical, but we have plenty of funds to not only backfill that, but we ought to be providing funds to get the very best body armor that we can. Not on my list, but go ahead.
Good afternoon. Yesterday, law enforcement says arrived pretty quickly on scene to the transportation cabinet building here in Frankfurt. We know that these types of situations can happen anytime, and law enforcement, being aware. Have you spoken with responding agencies about that response specifically, and maybe what support they could even use down the road to get back on that?
So yesterday we had a pretty scary situation in one of our largest office buildings here in Frankfurt. It was a scary and traumatic event for many of our employees and valued members of Team Kentucky, along with the rest of the community. Law enforcement responded very quickly, and what you saw were multiple law enforcement agencies coming together. So we're grateful for the Sheriff's Office, the Frankfort Police Department. Both of those do a great job, along with the Kentucky State Police. I was getting updates in real time from the state police. I talked to the commissioner via phone during the incident. They went floor to floor, making sure that there was not a shooter, making sure that people were not injured. And it took, because the building is that big, a decent amount of time to clear every single floor. But in all these situations, we want to learn something from them. So we're going to go back and look at our policies and procedures to look at the various responses, because I want every Kentuckian, not just every state employee, to feel safe when they go to work. And while I hate that we have to prepare for these things, to know, how we respond, where we respond, where the exit that you need to go to is. So we will be looking at all of it. The Kentucky State Police is also investigating the incident itself, and we should have more forthcoming as we get more information. But to everybody that was in that building, we are committed to your safety. All right, on the line, we have Tessa Duvall from the Herald Leader.
Hi, Governor. Good afternoon. It was recently reported that Education Commissioner Jason Glass was considered for a job out of state. And I'm curious, do you have any reaction to that? And additionally, do you have any concern about the Republican disdain for Commissioner Glass playing a role in this, and concerned about, could that make that job harder to fill in the future if he did leave?
After Matt Bevin, I thought we would not see the types of attacks on our educators that became a hallmark of his administration. But that's what these criticisms are. I mean, there are people out there claiming that our teachers, who are people in your community that you see at the grocery store, that you see at church, are somehow doing crazy things in the classrooms. These things are not happening. These elected officials are accusing our educators of trying to harm our children, of trying to indoctrinate them in some way. Listen, these are your community members. These are people who dedicate their lives to teaching. These are people that help prepare our kids for the future. And it's time that we stop demonizing our educators and we start supporting them. Listen, we're 44th in teacher pay, and you hear this from some of the highest elected public officials. We are not going to have the teachers that we need to stay number 2 in per capita economic development if we don't pay them more, but if we also don't stop yelling at them. And while they try to say it in terms of Jason Glass, because they're trying to create a single boogeyman to get everybody riled up on, it is an attack on every single public school employee that's out there. It was bad enough the last administration tried to cut their pensions, and I took them to court, and we saved those pensions. It's bad enough that a last governor accused them of unspeakable things simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. But what we're hearing right now, is even more unfortunate. It's accusing teachers all over the Commonwealth of doing things in their classroom that just aren't true, and it's only being done for political gain. If you need any other proof than that, just about everything they're saying about Jason Glass, they said about each other over these last 3 or 4 months. It's time to stop it. Karen Czar.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thank you. Economic development has been part of your weekly briefings for quite a while now. Are there any business sectors, however, that you feel are still behind since the pandemic, or do you feel like everything has caught up or surpassed? Thank you.
Well, it's interesting. So many different things happen now in the world on a weekly or a monthly basis that you see impacts in different sectors or reasons that some things cost more than others that sometimes we attribute to inflation but aren't. Like what happened with eggs and the avian flu, and how the price shot up and is now going down significantly. It is. We've seen so much growth and a booming economy since the pandemic that where there might be ups and downs in an industry, it's hard to point simply back to the pandemic as opposed to other things that may be going on. I know our restaurants and entertainment are rebounding. In fact, I've talked to about 4 small business owners, all of whom own a restaurant or multiple restaurants, and they're all talking about the best year they've ever had last year. But that doesn't mean that they didn't sacrifice and willingly sacrifice during the pandemic and are still working to regain their footing. We just went through something that killed 18,600 Kentuckians, right? That's more than we lost in World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and I believe also the Korean War put together. That is going to have major implications on all parts of our life for a period of time. But I believe that we have bounced back faster than we've seen in any pandemic, and what's happening across our economy is really exciting. Stan Ingold from WEKU.
Thank you, Governor. With the stage set for the November election, what are the plans, if any, when it comes to setting up debates and/or forums with Attorney General Cameron?
Well, I want to try to be careful to not answer political questions from here. I'll just say that it's important for candidates for governor to be willing and have the courage to not only debate, but stand in front of the press and take questions. Now, these jobs, it used to be one of the just requirements or expectations that you be willing to answer questions, that you wouldn't try to dodge them. And lately, we have seen more and more and more officials not do what I do here, not hold a regular press conference, maybe not hold one at all, and then refuse to take questions. I think it's important when we think about trust, when you think about honesty, to have someone who's willing to take those hard questions, and I'm certainly going to continue to do it. All right, that is this week's Team Kentucky Update. It was a long one. We'll see you next week.